Hey, welcome back. So about a year ago, I published a video here on the channel which talked about my journey through cord cutting. Well, this month, a year later, I'm going to do a follow-up video here. And I'm going to talk to you about some lessons that I've learned over the course of a year, one of which has to do with the importance of choosing the right antenna. So stick around and let's get going. Hey, welcome back. So I decided to take a picture of my equipment to give you an idea of what we'll be talking about today. So if you look at the table that I have here, I've got my Tableau DVR, a Roku, which is not in the picture because it's connected to my TV, my new clearstream 2V antenna from Antennas Direct, and of course an external USB hard drive that you see pictured there next to my Tableau device. Now, prior to me getting this antenna, which I only purchased a few weeks ago, I had a cheap set of rabbit ear antennas. Paid about 18 bucks for them locally here in town. And in general, the rabbit ears worked fairly well most of the time. The towers that I connect to is only about between 20 and 25 miles away from my home. So the rabbit ears generally worked okay, but I mean, the moment it rained or we had any type of inclement weather conditions, I would lose 2 or 3 of my major networks here. So I decided to do a little bit more research, take a look at other antenna options to figure out what antenna would work best in my region. And it just so happens that this Clearstream 2V antenna was highly recommended for my location. So I bought the antenna. It took me about 15 minutes in total to set it up. This particular model can be used indoors. You can mount it outdoors or in your attic if you have attic space. So right now I have it mounted indoors upstairs out of the way. And as you can see, it's not a huge antenna, but it is very noticeable. So it has a 60 plus mile range. And as I said earlier, it's designed for indoor, outdoor, and in the attic. Now, all I did was connect it up to my Tableau tuner that you see there in the picture and did a quick channel scan. And compared to what I was getting back with the rabbit ears, I got like maybe 80 or 90 channels with the rabbit ears. And many of those channels had decent to poor signal quality. This particular antenna, after I completed the channel scan, listed over 134 different channels, every last one of them perfect picture quality. So it's important, and that was really good lessons learned for me, that the antenna certainly does matter. Now if we take a look at this next screen here that I put together, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the difference between UHF and VHF channels. Now, VHF channels, as you see here, are those channels that are broadcast from, I think, channels 2 through 13, where 2 through 6 are considered low VHF and 7 through 13 are high VHF. Now, looking at the picture that I have here, the antenna elements at the top, or the dipole, is what's used to capture VHF signals. Now, the UHF channels are those that are broadcast on channels 14 and higher. And there are smaller antenna elements like the ones you see here, which is essentially called a loop, that's used to capture the UHF channels. Now, let's talk about a little bit of fact versus fiction here. And I didn't want to go into too much detail on this, but it's important enough for me to talk to you about it. Please ignore all the marketing hype that you read or see about HD antennas and 4K antennas. The most important parts of an antenna are the metal components. And you don't need a special HD TV antenna or 4K antenna to get an HD TV or 4K signal. Whether or not a channel comes in as HD or 4K or A standard definition is really up to the broadcaster. So make sure you do your research. Now, if you want to learn more about 4K or Nextgen TV, I'm going to include a few references in the show notes. Keep in mind that 4K streaming is not in all markets yet around the United States. And it's still going to be several years, at least another 5 years, best guess on my part, before the current ATSC standard goes away. Now, this snapshot that I took here from my Tableau device shows merely a subset of the active channels that I can catch. And if you look at this, so for example, you'll see I've got maybe 5 or 6 in this particular screenshot that are listed as a high definition, whether it's 720p or at 1080. The others come in at 480, and that's typically considered standard definition. So as you can see, this antenna catches essentially both. Okay, so now I want to talk to you about the difference between progressive scans and interlaced scans. Now, if you noticed in the previous screenshot where I showed you the list of active channels that my Tableau was able to capture through the antenna, the number over to the right for the HD channels read 1080i. I think the only difference was my ABC 13 channel, it was listed at 720p. All the other channels in that screenshot were 480i. And here, I'll bring this up right quick so you can take a look at that again. So if you notice, over to the right, if you look at NBC at the very top, it has 1080i listed. All the other channels have the letter I behind them except for ABC 13. I want to explain the difference here. Now, while it's important to know the difference, it's not important enough for you to really rack your brain over this. So the P, as I said earlier, stands for progressive scan. The I stands for interlaced scan. And really the only difference between these two is how the television, how your TV displays the image on the screen. With progressive scan, the progressive scan scans the image a lot faster than the interlaced scan does. However, it's important to also know that the more modern HD TVs today will de-interlace and interlace scan. So essentially it makes it look like a progressive scan. So you'll get a little bit better image quality. But I can tell you, looking at both of these, you would really have to have a very sharp eye to see the difference between the two. Now, fundamentally, if we get down to the basics of this, it's all about being able to watch over-the-air content for free. So who cares? Interlaced scan, progressive scan, I can tell you, having been a cord cutter for several years, that the picture quality looks great. That's what's important here. So this is my NBC affiliate coming in at 1080i. As you can see, the quality of the image looks very good. And I'm filming this with my cell phone pointed directly at the TV. So no problems here. This is my ABC affiliate coming in at 720p. It's upscaled nicely. No problems. And this is a TV station coming in at 480i standard definition. It looks good. It looks really good. And the audio sounds just fine. Okay, so here we are on the FCC's Digital TV Reception Map site. Now, if you want to find what stations are available for over-the-air broadcast in your area, all you have to do is come here, type your zip code. So I'll pick a zip code. One I'm familiar with is Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is 70802. I know that's close to LSU. Yep, there's LSU. And over to the left, you'll see it pulls up all the different TV stations that are available for you to watch over the air. And if you click on any of these, I don't know, let's pick the local CBS affiliate there, which is WAFB. It'll show you some metadata for that particular station. It shows the distance from the tower, in this case about 4 miles. It provides you with the RF channel that the station broadcasts over, which is channel 9. And it shows you which direction you'll want to aim your antenna. And this is useful because you can use that Android or iOS app that I told you about, the Antennas Point app, and use that to help you to position your antenna. So as you move around with your phone, it shows you where the antennas are that you want to point to relative to the direction that you're facing. And you'll just adjust your over-the-air antenna accordingly. Let's click here. Let's see. Let's pick another one. NBC. So it's showing another tower. That's this one here. That's 8 miles. So you'll definitely want to position your antenna kind of in between these two. What about the Fox affiliate? Okay, same thing. All right, so that's the FCC site. Let's take a look at AntennaWeb. Pretty much the same thing. You'll click put your location. Okay, we have Boise, Idaho up here by default. I'll click go. Let's go with Boise. Up to 68 channels from 19 over-the-air stations may be received at this location. There's a list. Station results. It even shows you what type of antenna, depending on the color code, what type of antenna you would need in order to be able to catch those channels. So we'll scroll through. A few greens and reds and yellows here. They too have a map, the Boise area and where you want to position, the direction you want to position your antenna. Rabbit Ears info, I think it's signal search map. Let's click on that. Yep, this is it. And we'll type a city, let's say Dallas, Texas. And we'll click on, put the push pin there. Minimum search distance, you can even increase the search distance depending on the type of antenna you want to get. We'll click go. And here's a list of all the stations as well as the field strength for you folks over in Dallas. And I like this ranking: good, 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 fair, poor, and bad. All right, antennas direct, same thing. We'll put a, oops, I need to refresh the page here. Let me go back. There we go. I'll put, that was Dallas. Let's see if El Paso, Texas. There's El Paso. We'll click View Channels. So El Paso has quite a few, actually, channels here to choose from. And it even shows you the tower up in Las Cruces, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Let's see what View Antennas shows us. Oh, here you go. Clearstream Max V, UHF, VHF, indoor, outdoor HD antenna for the El Paso, Texas region. And finally, this is Tyler the Antenna Man's website. Tyler has a YouTube channel, and I do encourage you to check that out. He does a very good job at educating his viewers on various cord-cutting topics, and he has quite a bit of experience on helping you to choose the right antenna. I think he's located up in the Pennsylvania area, but definitely if you're in need of a good antenna recommendation, reach out to Tyler. So these are just a few of the resources you have available to you on the internet. Definitely do your research. Okay, here are a few closing tips. I've written down a few notes here. I'm going to read from them for you. So, number 1, don't pay for content that's freely available. Number 2, do your research. Number 3, now if you're subscribing to cable or satellite service currently, go ahead and total up your annual satellite or cable cost. For under about $400, you can have a very similar setup to what I have for well under $400. And think about it this way. If you're spending, let's say, at least 50 bucks a month, that comes out to about $600 a year. $400 or even less for equipment like this pays for itself in under a year. And the beauty of it is you don't have to buy this stuff new. You can search online and find refurbished or even pre-owned devices. I found antennas on eBay, on Amazon. I think even Tableau periodically puts refurbished units on their website. Just search online and look for great deals that way. Let's see, that was number 3. Number 4 is, shop for online deals. Number 5, when in doubt, hire a professional installer to come out. That person can do everything for you. He or she can position the antenna, get it installed, run the cabling, get you all connected up and running, and you have pretty much no headaches at that point. And finally, hit that like button and that subscribe button if you like what you saw today. Again, it really helps me to figure out whether or not this is the type of content that you all are interested in viewing. So until next time, happy holidays, and I'll see you soon.